It all started with a man of hair, silvers pulling the trigger. A chubby middle-aged gentleman. Todd shot straight in the chest. His men shouted, calling him the Lime Chief. When he fell to the ground, one of the guards immediately replied. The silver-haired man was riddled with bullets all over the torso. As I lay in a growing pool of blood, a thought went through your mind. The fairest rule in the world is that everyone has only one life. Teru lived years of glory, but in the end died at the hands of someone he previously considered a nobody, and no matter how much wealth I had, not even a fortune capable of rivaling nations could save it. Now on the brink of death, the silver-haired man felt a bitter relief. At least he had finally avenged his parents. Yet, fate was really cruel. Took almost everything from him, before your eyes finally close. A thought continued to echo in his mind. He refused to give up. Suddenly, your eyes open. He was lying in his bed, like someone who just woke up in a nightmare. Was stunned. For in your memory, had just been killed by the guards. Rubber coasts. When looking around the room, everything looked strangely familiar. It was a small place, where he used to live when he was still a student. It was then that a shocking thought struck him. Was he reborn in the past? He quickly turned on the television. The news showed a big advertisement. A fully immersive virtual reality game, called had just launched its open beta phase. The moment you saw the transmission, your heart shot. Conviction had just opened its servers, which meant he really was back. The silver-haired man was called Nian. He put a portrait stand next to the bed. Inside there was a picture of him with his parents. At that time, his father and mother did business at the border, trading a strategic metal called plutonium. The state bought by a price hundreds of times larger than normal. Because of this, his family has amassed an enormous fortune. Later, your father started a metal smelting company, and the family quickly became rich. But the good times didn't last. When Nia Yen turned 25, everything fell apart. The Sharong financial group attacked, and relatives and business partners your father trusted were bribed by Kochu and turned against them. The company suffered devastating losses and ended up going. Your father took poison and took his own life. His mother fell ill with shock and died shortly afterwards, consumed by lighting. But the cruel truth was that the Nian wasn't innocent either. Growing up in wealth made the lazy. He wasted his days doing nothing. When everything fell apart, he had no skills, no plan, no way out. In the end chose the most extreme path, die along with the rubber. Now fate gave you another chance. And this time, Nian swore he would never lose everything again. But what he still didn't know was that your second life would start inside the world of damnation. Doom is a holographic game of another era that changed the world. Countless financial groups entered it in the following years, and the Shu financial group also started its rise. From conviction, game quickly became the second world of humanity. In your past life, he was also a great, above level 180. He arrived at the date on his cell phone, 25th of July, 2025, which meant that conviction had been released only 7 days. It made you realize that you still had time. In game ranking, the highest level should only be level 5. With the memories of your past life, he was fully capable of reaching them. He believed that was your big chance to turn the game around. Remembered correctly. Still had some money saved, enough to buy the most basic game helmet. He was determined to take revenge on Rubber. Responsible for the ruin and death of his family, he wore his jacket. Decided to change everything that night. Got the helmet. Even though I am 7 days behind the others for being reborn, he would overcome them all with the force of lightning, and reach the top of damnation. He took the helmet, and entered the game. Was asked to choose your country. Is divided into 3 factions. The light faction, horrendous and good. It is composed of the Viridian Empire and the Satram Empire. The Viridian Empire is a human nation, governed by a council of elders. The Satram Empire is a tribal tribe formed by dwarves, beastmen, and elves. The Dark faction, ordering, is composed of the intelligence of demonic descendants, and by the madness of the living dead, about a system of leadership and dictatorship. Finally, the players, peaceful people, can choose Australia, of the faction's giants, neutral and orderly. In your past life, he chose the Wind class of Empire. Viridian. Years of effort have been devoted to this. He knew all the skills and missions in the class, in detail, and picked the Wind again. Would give you the greatest advantage of reliving your life. The system has detected your choice. With that, he was born in the Viridian Empire. The system asked you to appoint your director. He chose the name Nirvana. The name was accepted, and the label created. He entered the game in the city of Carol, of Viridian Empire. Your status panel showed level 1 class. 6 strength, 8 of agility, 5 defense, 4 of 3, and 80 life points. He was pleased to feel that familiarity decided to add 3 points in strength and 2 in agility. In your past life, had distributed the points incorrectly, wasting a lot of time. This time I wouldn't make the same mistake. Here at teleport points, could send players to different cities, towns and villages. An arcane mage level 3 was selling out loud. A 0 level white dagger, high quality. The dagger had 2 points of attack, one more than the initial dagger, costing only 2 copper coin, and he had only 3 units left. Ian immediately noticed the trick. In Rocktown, these same daggers were sold for a copper coin, and the teleport there was free. In your past life, he had fallen on the blow and bought it, only to find out after it was deceived. Now with their memories intact, I wouldn't make the same mistake. Near there, a Paladin Imperial Guard level 3 offered something much more interesting. A stealth skill book. For 6 copper coins, several players gathered around. Interested parties, but the price was too high. Until Nian was interested, he approached and asked the price. The Paladin replied, 6 copper coins per book. For stealth was the most important skill. At the beginning of the game, was essential, and Ian also remembered something from his past life. In the Wildcat Zone in Track Town, there was a hidden chest. The skill inside it could greatly accelerate evolution. The area was full of level 5 monsters, while most players was still between levels 2 and 3. It meant that no one should have discovered yet. Nian calmly told the Paladin to give him the book for free. In return it would reveal a secret, a method to achieve more than a dozen futility books. In a single day, the seller sent him out, refusing to give a book to a stranger. Ian didn't bother. Just told him not to hurry. Because if I wasn't mistaken, those books came from flames falling into slow motion. The Paladin froze in shock and asked how he knew. Nian also went beyond, revealed the exact coordinates. 22, 38, 52. It's a lot of number now. The seller was completely stunned. He not only knew about the monsters, as well as the coordinates, he began to doubt whether that strange player, 0 level, was telling the truth. After thinking a little, decided to take a risk. It was just a book. If the information were real, could farm several a day. He accepted the exchange. The system notified Nirvana that the Flistone player had exchanged an item with him. The agreement has been concluded. Nirvana told him to go to the coordinates and hunt fallen shamans. The site was close to their camp, and with the correct farm, could get more than a dozen books a day. Flistone got excited and prepared to test. Immediately, before leaving, Nirvana remembered one more thing. Shamans could also drop ability from Perception of Nocturnal Owl. If you got extra copies, should send one to him. Flistone agreed quickly, promising to send if he could. Nirvana then walked to the teleport circle. Now that he had gained futility, it was time for the next step. Open the hidden chests. He arrived in Track Town and learned the skill. Futility allowed entering an intermediate state, making it much more difficult to detect. But the higher the enemy level, easier it would be to realize it. He activated the skill and fired through the streets. Nobody noticed. He left town and headed straight for the forest. Soon arrived in the Wildcat area. There was a one-eyed wildcat, level 4, along with several level 2 cats roaming nearby. The treasure chest was on a tree branch. In Conviction, chests were classified as white, silver, gold, black gold, even legendary. The higher the level, better were the items inside. The items in each chest were fixed. After someone looted it, they were gone forever. And how he remembered, the silver chest hidden in the Wildcat area was still there. No one had caught him yet. Even though it is a level 5 area, a level 0 player like him had no chance to fight there. But there was an advantage. Even if he died, would not lose experience or equipment. He activated futility again and advanced rapidly. Your current futility lasted just 2 minutes. And opening the chest also took time, so needed to act fast. Suddenly, one of the cat's savages noticed something and advanced against him. He couldn't get too close. Did this, would be replaced immediately. He gave a fast rolling, dodging the attack for a bit, then landed gently on the ground, and without wasting time, jumped up the branch and started to open the chest, forced himself to remain calm, because futility could end at any moment. The chest slowly opened. 27 seconds have passed. Finally, he opened up and Nian let out a slight sigh of relief. This was the first step on your way, perfect of evolution. Inside was a skill book called Lifeblood, a powerful technique that reached enemy vital points, causing additional lethal damage. The effect of skill was simple, deadlier. When reaching a vital point, caused 150% damage, with 30-second recharge. However, skill was restricted to 3 classes: Warrior and Paladin. Ian confirmed that the contents of the chest were really Vital Blow, was a high-level skill that could be learned from level 0. With this ability, the difficulty of evolving at the beginning of the game would be halved. He learned the Vital Blow soon after. The effect of stealth is over. He jumped off the branch, greeted the wildcats, and even thanked him for putting a chest in for him. In conviction, dying normally meant losing experience and equipment, but he was still at 0, and using only the initial set. So even if he died, would not have big losses. The system notified of his death. He dropped 1 pair of initial mittens. After that was teleported back to the nearest town. Ian had a slight laugh and commented that this teleportation, free express back to town, was quite convenient. Then, departed for the second step of the evolution plan. He crossed the city quickly. The second step required 20 copper coins, but every new player started with only 10. So I needed to make money fast. If your memory was correct, there was a sequence of hidden missions that could be activated there. First, found the Claws Hunter, and accepted the mission to collect 20 skulls of giant rats, silver gray. After, found the Enta Farmer and accepted another mission, kill 50 of these rats, then went to the pharmacist or had I heard of Klaus, Yanda that a young man had accepted both missions. Coincidentally, he also needed medicinal materials, so asked Ian if he could collect them. At this time, the hidden mission has been activated, and I didn't know that it only happened if, accept the first 2 missions at the same time. Something almost nobody knew. He accepted the hidden mission to collect 21 rat tails, giants, silver gray. Then went to the forest, soon found a level 1 mouse, with 53 of lie. Ian activated the vital blow. The attack directly hit the weak point. Critical hit. The mouse died instantly. He put a skull and a tail. And for your surprise, the monster still dropped, and equipment was a pair of sturdy leather leggings. White quality, 0 level, 4 more defense, and 3 pounds weight, however, could only be used by warriors. Even so, put yourself in the auction house. Could sell for at least 7 copper coins. But rats shot him. Ian didn't panic. Just activated the vital blow repeatedly. Each attack strictly eliminated another monster. After 1 hour, completed Claw's missions, he won 34 copper coins and 3 basic potions of instant recovery. The hidden mission reward exceeded your expectations. He didn't think he would get instant potions. He put the leggings up for sale at the auction house. After that, decided to go to the gun store. The seller asked what he needed and stated proudly that their weapons were the best in the region. Ian said he wanted a usable beast at 0 level, with only at least 3 of attack, range of 12 or more, and price below 40 copper coins. The seller showed a small beast, rapid fire mechanics. It has the shooting effect, triple and 5 more attack, although the base speed was 8. The quick fire effect took real speed to 15. Its range was 30 meters. And the price was exactly 35 copper coins. Ian bought. The purchase included 9 lower extremity quivers, each with 1,000 projects. After purchase, 44 copper coins were discounted. The seller was pleased, and wished good luck. Then, Ian left for the Bezos area on. The level difference is absolute. Every 5 levels there is a huge leap of power. The Bisons were level 8. Not even the strongest ranked player will resist the, much less the leader of the Bisons. That was even more powerful. Leading monsters were considered rare. As he was reborn, Ian had complete confidence. Even at 0 level, believed he could defeat the leader of the Bisons. He reached the edge of a cliff. The coordinates were 58, 70, F2, 81, and 92. Remembered correctly. Irat Ali. Below it, the Bizoas ran through the fields. The level 8 leader was among them, with 300 of light. The distance was perfect for your beast. He shot 3 arrows flew. 2 missed and 1 got it right, dealing a vital blow of 1 less damage. Life fell to 299. The level difference was huge. Even getting it right caused only 1 point of damage, but it didn't matter. He had 9,000 cigarettes. Planned to wear down an enemy to death. Fired again. Same result. Repeated the process numerous times, yet there were still thousands of tribes left. 3 hours later, the leader's life was almost 0. He fired again. 2 arrows missed, and 1 hit. Life blow of 1 less, or final blow, finally pushed him and stormed the cliff. The system notified of the victor, due to the huge difference in level, received a bonus of 1,800% and gained 8,290 of experience, went straight up to level 2. He checked the items, put on a bronze dagger, 5 copper coins, and a horn dagger. In conviction, equipment is classified in white, silver, bronze, gold, and legendary. Rare monsters as leaders have a low chance of dropping. Only about 1 in 1,000 defeats generates equipment with attributes. So every item is valuable. Bronze weapons are specifically useful, have about 20% more attack. What common weapons and still comes with extra attributes? I remembered that the leader of the Bisons normally dropped level 5 equipment. Even so, the bronze dagger that got could be sold for at least 3 silver coins, but before that he needed identify her to discover her exact attributes. At this time, her system notified that its tough leather leggings had been sold. At the same time, he received 8 copper coins. Flistone contacted him excited, saying he had gone to Ian's coordinates that he had mentioned and that it worked. He had already gotten 2 books of stealth skill, and its speed of evolution had made twice as fast as before. Because of this discovery, Flistone felt Ian had come out at a loss. After all, he had only given her a book, but the information he received was worth much more. Ian told him not to do this, a big problem. Just remembered that, whether the perception ability of Nocturnal Owl, Burrow, should send him a copy. But Tommy promised, said it would send immediately if it appeared, but I was still curious how Ian knew about that farm point, being that before it was only 0 level. Ian explained, coincidentally he had already played on another account. A race then created again as Flistone believed at the time. Even assumed that Ian's previous character should be high level, maybe someone who has been at the top of the ranking, so Flistone asked another question. If Fanja's previous account had completed the Danja, a camp of fallen shaman. Their team had tried several times in recent days, but all attempts are over, with the group completely defeated. They almost lost all their equipment and experience. Ian replied calmly that could provide a complete strategy. The price, 2 untraded silver coins. Einstein was shocked, couldn't believe there was a guide complete for that dungeon, still trusted Ian. Asked him to wait, while I was going to convince the captain of the team, and wrote down the price. After closing the call, Ian turned his attention to Deca. It was time to identify it. He went back to Drag Town and went straight to the evaluator. The evaluator Alpha looked at him and asked which item he wanted to identify. Ian said it was a Deca. She informed that the fee was 10 copper coins. Ian was a little surprised. Normally, the identification rate of an entities was about 5% of the wear value of the item anyway. He delivered the 10 coins. The evaluator used the skill, and moments later, the attributes appeared. It was a level bronze quality horn dagger, with the following attributes: plus of attack, 5 more strength, 1 pound weight. It could only be used by thieves, but it served any faction. Even Ian was surprised when analyzing the base attribute. This weapon had almost 10 attack points, to more than an ordinary dagger. Just this difference already put him in an almost invincible position at the beginning of the game. Now he had a gun he needed. He too had already hit the blow, idle and stealth. But there was still one thing missing: continuous combat capability. As players who had more resistance in battle usually chose between pharmacy or bandage skills. Life potions and elixir were extremely helpful for quickly restoring combat power. But they were also very expensive for the reborn Ian. But making money wasn't a problem. Potions could be bought later. Though, learn combat bandage skill was more suitable in an item store. He bought 2 magic breathing potions underwater and prioritized learning the skill of bandage in the Lake Rando. Ian passed several players fighting monsters in the wild area. Disputes between players were common. Situations like police slaughter often led to fights, so he remained cautious. To reach the destination, needed to pass through the fishing village before to enter the lake area hiking. Normally, cleaning that area required at least 1,000 players. No time. The only way to get through was by using stealth. Suddenly it appeared on the system. The guild, victorious return, announced that he would clear the area in 3 minutes. All players next to the village of sinners were ordered to go out voluntarily, just like your previous life, remained and dominant. Using your power to intimidate solo players. At that time, Ian was even hunted by them for months. This time he intended to settle the score. Slowly activated stealth and passed the monsters unnoticed. When the effect, a fireball came towards you. The purple fire player attacked. The system notified that he could exercise self-defense for 5 minutes. Purple fire was a level 3 elemental wizard. He coldly said that solo players were not allowed there, and sent Ian away. Ian was a little surprised when watching a guild member return victorious. But as the enemy was alone, fighting was not impossible. Against a single magician, there were 2 options for walking distance or running away. Running away wasn't Ian's style. The conjuration time, a flame explosion, was about 2 seconds. Enough to get closer. Ian stepped forward and hit the chest with purple fire, with the dagger, dealing 23 damage. Purple fire was pulling back the shackle. He screamed in anger, saying that was asking to die. The entire area had already been taken over by the guild, then put the violent fire ring. Ian received 39 damage, but without hesitation drank a basic instant recovery potion. Then, calmly said purple fire, "Don't think you could escape." After allowing it to approach, Ian attacked again, dealing 36 damage. Purple fire Ravato, swinging his staff around in flames. He despised Ian for just being a level 2. And told him to reflect on his actions. When I returned to town, after so many attacks, shouldn't have much life left. Purple fire estimated that it had about 28 And he himself still had 51 AD, which meant that another fireball, it would be enough to end the fight. He wanted to show Ian the consequences of challenging the guild. Victorious return, started to freeze another fireball. As Ian advanced, Ian clenched his fist on the dagger, and then used the vital blow. Purple fire was paralyzed with disbelief. How was this possible? Ian was just a level 2, and was still alive. After receiving your fireball, he wondered how much life Ian still had. Then realized it should have been an instant recovery potion. But that raised another question. Ian was just a level 2 ground. Where did the money to buy potions come from? Ian calmly said he could think of it. After returning to town, purple fire disappeared in a flash of light, letting your staff fall to the floor. Ian was the item. It was a level 0 bronze staff. He felt he could sell it for about 10 copper coins. However, new guild players were turned victorious. Would arrive soon, so needed to leave immediately. And it was right. They appeared soon after. On high alert. There were enemies near the lake, and purple fire had just died there. One of them suggested pursuing the culprit they saw in Ian. A player came forward and said that running away would not be easy. He attacked with sword strike skill. But to your surprise, Ian moved quickly and deviated. As he ran, Ian drank an underwater breathing potion. The pursuer realized what he intended to do. Jump into the water and escape. He yelled at the British to stop. One used the flaming cut. The other activated the onslaught. The attacks almost hit him. But Ian suddenly accelerated and jumped straight into the lake. The pursuer stopped immediately. None of them had underwater breathing potions. Soon more members arrived and asked where the target was gone. They explained that he had escaped by jumping into the lake. One of them said to ask purple fire his name. Moments later received the answer. The name was Ian. Now that he remembered the name, he planned to capture it next time. And Ian was already underwater. He was relieved by, finally got rid of the victorious returned guild group. Then saw the chest he was looking for. To the open, found him the fisherman's water pearl. Is a special item, with underwater breathing ability. When activated, allowed breathing underwater for 30 minutes. With 12-hour recharge, it was not a rare item, but for Ian at that time it was extremely useful. Suddenly, a trident was thrown towards you. Ian immediately realized the danger. Water absorption. He definitely wouldn't pee. Harry for fishmen. They had been alerted. Then out of nowhere, the village on the fisherman's farm exploded. The fishmen who chased Ian retreated and ran towards the explosion. Ian smiled sideways. The victorious return guild had held up some saber. Their attack attracted all fishmen, leaving the surrounding area safe. He continued exploring underwater and ended up discovering the island of Heart. He decided to emerge. When it came out of the water, saw someone near the bank. Ian immediately recognized was Take. She had been his companion, holy priestess in her past life. He never expected to find her there after being reborn. At that time, many things happened between them. Now he can't help but wonder if that meeting was destined. Ian was surprised to see it rise from the water. At first she was pregnant. 3 monsters chased her, and she feared that Ian would attack her too. But instead, Ian advanced and used the vital blow on one of the monsters. Ian immediately followed with the holy judgment. The two began working together. Quickly, the monsters were defeated. She thanked for the help. Ian just said it was nothing, and introduced himself. When you saw his name, she stood still for a moment. Asked if he could be the same Ian he knew. So he introduced himself as Xiao Yao, since he had helped it. She suggested they join as friends, to be able to reciprocate. Then Ian accepted and added. He then asked what she was doing on the lake island. From the heart, I suppose she was out there working on some mission. She explained that she needed to hunt water molecules to collect water bags. Ian replied that he was also there, forming water molecules, but your mission demanded to be of the end. He suggested they form a group and work together. She immediately agreed. Actually, until he gave a little fine sold to adjust. Get from the water spiders you killed before. The system notified Ian that she had exchanged 12 items with him. He knew those items were worth about 36 copper coins. Or Xiao didn't care about money. She knew that the experience she lost when she died before was worth much more than 36 copper coins. In addition, she didn't even have a mission that would require fine sil, so keeping that was useless. Ian accepted the items with gratitude. Suddenly, the leader of the water spiders appeared. The system notified that they had formed a group. Ian moved forward and used the vital blow. Xiao supported with holy judgment. Together caused 70 less damage. The monster turned and attacked. Ian screamed for her to jump. He would pull the monster's aggro, giving her a chance to strike safely. Ian shot his beast at the spider. Followed the plan and called the holy judgment and blow. Sacred. 70 more damage appeared. After a brief struggle, they successfully defeated the leader of the water spiders. She thought it was weird. Their coordination had been incredibly fluid. Even a mighty lead monster seemed easy to deal with. It was the first time she had tried something like this. In addition, it was clearly the first time they had met. Even so, teamwork felt natural, as if they had fought together for a long time. Ian realized she was looking at him, asked what was wrong. She quickly replied that it was nothing, then admitted that his skills were impressive. Because of this, was worried about why someone with him was attacking alone. I simply replied that I was used to being alone, since he played solo. She made a proposal. Her group was preparing to complete the forest city trans track, and asked if he wanted to join them. Ian asked how many warriors were on the team, along with your defense points on Tate. The Trent Forest was a level 3 dungeon, and Chief King Trent was a sub-elite monster. If warriors didn't have sufficient defense, cleaning the dungeon would be almost impossible. She replied that they had 2 warriors from, each with 53 defense, and 230 of life. Ian felt it and said it was close, but still risky. The hate Trent had a 2% chance to cause a critical hit. What if a warrior's defense weren't at least 60 points? He could die with a single blow. In addition, the priest's healing would need to be perfect. Hill was shocked to hear that hate Trent could cause critical successes. She had never heard anyone mention this before. Continues, asked Ian how he knew this, but the group had already prepared to dungeon several days ago, so they couldn't just steal. Halfway through, to increase the defense to 60 points, they would need at least a bronze defense equipment, which was extremely difficult to achieve. Ian said there was another way. She asked what it was. Ian calmly replied that the situation was simple. The solution was to let him command the team. Yahello admitted he trusted his strength, but convincing the rest of the group wouldn't be easy. Yet, promised to try your best. After that, Ian decided to check what the boss had dropped. When the item appeared, Yahello was to evaluate it. Ian was surprised because she has already learned the ability to evaluation. The item was good. Bronze grade fine silk mittens, usable from 0 level. 2 more defensemen advance, 3 more of magic, and weight half a pound. Could be used by any class. Was clearly a perfect item for her, so the Ian delivered. She appeared surprised and asked about him. Ian showed the items left. One was a rare piece of fine silk dropped by the boss. The other was a skill book called Assassinate. He said he would only keep these 2. She smiled and said it was fair. After all, he had still got a good reward. She accepted the fine silk mittens. At this time, the system announced that the game server would be closed in 3 minutes, and all players were advised to leave. She all said they would meet again next time. Ian signed on farewell, and also left the game. For now, its journey from evolution to had come to an end. Back to reality, he removed the helmet. It was already the morning of the second day. Although its progress in game had paused, he knew your real body also needed to get stronger. She would certainly have many guard back around you in the future. I couldn't afford to stay weak and passive. Then left the house, and was almost hit by a truck. He fell back on the floor. Someone close ran to him, and asked if he was okay. He looked up. It was Tate. He was surprised to see her, but instead of greeting him, she quickly rebuked him for being careless, and pointed out that he was bleeding. She ran to the car to get a first aid kit. Relief. Bad was your deskmate, and also the person he would regret the most in your life past, because of your shy personality. He never managed to confess his feelings to her, and in the end, for being connected to it, she became the target of Chew of the Century Financial Group, and ended up developing a serious mental illness. She bandaged her wounds while scolding, telling him to stop acting so recklessly. She leaned too close, and when she looked at him, your face turned red. Embarrassed, asked if he was even listening to what she said. Ian replied that yes, but inside I thought the same thing as before. She was still as cute as ever. She looked away and said no one wanted the job of caring for him, then said goodbye and drove away. She wondered if Ian was really the person, same one you found in the game. But one thing was for sure, he had changed a little, seemed more confident now, just like in the game. And Quanto Izzo. Ian felt happy to see her again. But I knew that soon the crazy she would end up destroying everything in his life again. This time he'd planned to build his base early on. Only then could he change the fate of his past life. Suddenly got a call from Daniel. He asked where Ian was, since there had been no news from you for 2 days. She told Ian to go fast to her. Ian was relieved to learn that Daniel was still alive. Daniel was his best friend in his past life. When Ian was in the abyss, Daniel secretly supported, risking discovery by Shu, which made Ian's life so much easier. He had a bad habit of running after women. In your past life, he got into a fight with someone in a bar out of jealousy. Unfortunately, this person was someone very powerful. Daniel was beaten to death and thrown into a dark alley. But in this life, Ian swore he would never let this happen again. Eventually they met. Ian ran his arm over Ian's shoulders and laughed, saying, I finally got this weirdo. So said the new game. Conviction was exploding everywhere. Asked if Ian was playing. Ian replied that he had just reached level 2. Ah smiled and said that this was already very good. Then, Ian to the P-bar. And Gabo that he himself was a level 3 arcane magician. Lobar-DT. It was basically a gamer entertainment club. The players could come in with their own characters and fight between it in competitive combats. But unlike their real game, these struggles did not affect progress. Yet, how was the combat between players? Bets were inevitable. Most bets were game equipment. Sometimes it was money too. Ian loved to bet, even almost always losing. Teo saw Yahello immediately and laughed, asking if he had come to donate more money. Snorted and said it was still not known who would pay. Then Kai noticed Ian next to him, smiled with disdain and asked if last time's beating it hadn't been enough. Ian slapped Ian's shoulder and confidently said that while Ian was with him, those guys wouldn't dare do anything. Kai narrowed his eyes. Ian looked strangely calm today. He wondered what had happened for this guy to be so bold. Suddenly, Ian sent him to stop wasting time and go straight to the point. He placed a bet of 200 per round. Kai accepted on the spot and took the helmet. The match has started. Ian, an arcane magician level 3, against Kai, a berserker level 3. I immediately knew that the result would not be good. A level 3 berserker had already hit the road. What was bad news for an arcane magician? In addition, the ground was completely flat, without obstacles. Dodge was almost impossible for a magician to play. In Ian's view, Yahello would definitely lose. Someone close by spoke with Ian and told him not to waste time watching Ian, clearly on the verge of losing. Instead, suggested Ian play with him. Ian, but only one round, and said he didn't have much interest. When the bet was considered small, the man frowned. Irritated, he sent Ian to stop acting with such arrogance, then declared that he would teach him a lesson, and boasted that he had 700 with him. So they decided to play a match. The confrontation was set. Ian, a level 2 Wan, against Shifeng, a level 2 archer. They entered that. That was a bamboo forest. The moment the match started, both activated stealth. Immediately, both disappeared. Then silently climbed on a bamboo branch. He murmured that Ian had been too, and would make him pay for it. But as much as you look carefully, couldn't find where the kid was hiding. What he didn't know, Ian had already predicted that he would take the position. With 10 years of experience as a, and hiding his presence was already natural. The next moment, Ian appeared right behind him. Your dagger forgot the blade, directly drilled the Fen generator, making it instantly drop from 110 to 70. Fen was completely shocked. He had no idea when Ian had appeared behind him. In a panic, tried to attack from behind, but Ian had already left. Then he calmly said that the match was over. Activated the vital blow, and the damage number appeared. Minus 70. Fen died in the game. All around were shocked by the quick end of the fight. Couldn't believe Feng lost so fast. That looked more intimidation than a real fight. Henry sat confused, trying to figure out what had happened. Ian had only made a few simple moves, but hit the vital point perfectly. It was a clean slaughter and a blow. He can't help but wonder when Ian had become so decisive. After all, this was the same Ian who used to be quiet and swallow the anger. It was hard to imagine that kind of player performing such a movement. He once turned to Yahello and asked what his departure had been like. Yahello sighs and said he lost 2 rounds to 1200, claimed that Kai had learned the ability of Berserker, anti-magic aura, that completely nullified his arcane. But Ian shook his head and said that a magic aura only reduces a small amount of mechanical damage. So it wasn't as scary as Ian thought, thrown that he got the conjuration time right. Fight 1. Berserker was simple. I admitted your time was lousy. All of his abilities went into it. And the moment it fell it approached, he died instantly. I looked surprised. Somehow, your friend suddenly knew a lot about the game. He asked where Ian had put all that. But instead of answering, Ian just signed with the money that he had just received. Right in front of him, Bull's eyes widened. One of the guys nearby got angry and asked why Ian was acting with such arrogance. He advanced planning, beat Ian for earning their money. I wanted to teach you a lesson, but Ian held his hand and threw it straight to the ground. In your previous life, Ian had trained his body for situations like this. To deal with people like that, Ian was in shock. He wondered when Ian had become so strong. Then quickly realized they shouldn't tease Ian again. This guy clearly wasn't easy to deal with. Kai also noticed something strange. Ian was completely different of the person he remembered. Some of their friends were about to step in, but Kai stopped them. No. He couldn't even believe Ian had defeated one of his subordinates so easily. Ian said casually he had only played 1 round with Feng. More reactions. The guy was kind of weak, and narrowed his eyes, and invited Ian to play against him. Ian said oh, but not if the bet was small. Kai smiled sideways and offered 1,000 for each round, saying he had 3,000 in total. Ian was in shock. KO was a level 3 berserker, while Ian was just a level 2 wind. Ian calmly increased the bet to 3,000 per round. KO laughed and said he had no problem. After all, he didn't believe a level 2 could turn the game around. Yahello quickly pulled Ian and asked if he had gone crazy. He didn't even have all that money. Ian replied that not actually. So Ian had no choice but to borrow. He even joked that he got it wrong, was ready to risk his life with him. Soon they came into play. The match has started. In the sky. They appeared in an open field face to face. Ian puckered his forehead when seeing the terrain. Fight on flat ground. It was bad for thieves who depended on futility. Kai even offered to change the terrain, in case Ian thought it was unfair. Ian just shook his head and said it wasn't necessary. Then activated stealth, and disappeared. Yahello looked around carefully, but Kai had no idea where Ian had gone. Ian knew that the wisps of grass could easily reveal his position. KO certainly tried, predict your movements by looking at the grass. Then, Ian needed another way to hide his way. The wind. Then suddenly he noticed the wind picking up around him. Your expression got serious. Lose track. Although like that wasn't a good sign. He turned the sword cautiously around the body. It was the first time I saw it use stealth with this level of control. The grass that should expose Ian's movement was being used to confuse it. The wind suddenly stopped. Ian was completely waiting for the next gust. Moment when the wind came back would be when he would attack. And understood that the boy was moving extremely slowly and stealthily, not to reveal flaw by the grass. He believed Ian was in a place ahead of you, then the wind beside you. Before I could react, a sharp blow hit the back of his neck. Irritability of 165 for 130. Kai turned and swinged his huge sword, uncontrollably. He couldn't believe the boy had passed behind it. Immediately used the swirl cut, but Ian already knew something important. After equipping a big sword and used that skill, there was always a recovery animation, but I was second. And that 1 second was the key to winning, but he didn't get anything right. Completely wrong, and seized the perfect moment, and activated the vital blow. Everyone watching was shocked. The damage number appeared -96. Kai's peak instantly dropped to 34. 165. Furious, he counterattacked with a flaming cut. His giant sword went up in flames as he advanced, roaring to kill Ian. Gao yelled at Ian to deviate quickly. Ian had already predicted. Kai was completely trying, push it back and recover. This dance, but for hand-to-hand combat was an advantage. His whole life was on a safe level, even if you got hit. Couldn't lose this proximity. -56 damage, the KO face darkened. This kid really had high skill. He installed its tongue and neck. Then attacked again with a single cut. The blade hit again. And soon after he advanced with an onslaught, and when it turned pale, onslaught had a brief stunning. If it were poison it would be the end. One of Kai's men made fun of, saying Ian was just pretending to be important. Getting hit just to look strong. So they froze. Ian deferred to the burn. The charge had a range greater than that of a dagger. But the instant he saw the opening, he already knew it was the end. He hit. Blood jaru from Kai audio, the force the neck back. Kai AD dropped to 0. Exactly as Ian expected, he was still lightly hit by the onslaught, suffering less than 40 damage. But it didn't matter. The system announced the result. Ian won. Nobody could believe. A level 2 just defeated a berserker. Level 3 Kai's subordinates were finally completely shocked. How did this kid know the range, exact abilities of a berserker? How he read it all so perfectly? Kai himself could not accept. He had lost and occurred until Ian, excited that he defeated someone at a higher level, but Ian just minimized by saying it was lucky. I didn't believe, if only to say something. This just proved that Ian knew too much about the game. Then he immediately asked Ian to teach him how to play as an arcane magician. Ian agreed without hesitation. Then KO and his group approached. Ian got tense, asking what was going on, and hoping he wouldn't go back on his word. But Kai simply admitted defeat directly. He said he would give up, and that if he ever had time, could stop by his bar. After that they left. One of the men asked why he was being so polite to Ian. Kai replied that one should not look just for the present, but also for the future. Said that boy had changed a lot and could grow quickly. So it was better not to turn him into an enemy. Ian told Ya that they should go too. He had saved good money that day. Then I would pay for the arcane mage classes for him. They would settle it tonight in Felgame. Ian started to get excited. Your body was in great shape. Even he had to admit that having a young body, so it was too good. After finishing it was time to enter the conviction. As a combination he still needed to make the forest. Trent como time day to unit. He took the helmet and entered the game. As soon as it appeared inside the damnation, notifications appeared immediately. The Bay player had sent a loan application. And Flistone player had deposited a silver coin in his storage, saying that the guide Ian passed really worked. They had already cleared the campo of the fallen shaman and left the rest of the coin to him. He also asked if Yanti is a guide to the swamp, theme drop, because he needed oxygen, and accepted the kid's request. As he was the Yal and was already there, decided to take it together to the Trent forest, while to the guide of the muddy swamp of theme. He couldn't keep selling guides non-stop. This would suspicion. It was better to expect them to fail sometimes, and then sell for a higher price. After that, Yanti went back to something else, a nearby hidden mission. He saw a man fishing, and on approaching, recognized him. It was the Believin's doctor. The moment it came close, the hidden mission has been activated. Liv asked how many fine silks he had collected, and delivered 30. Liv thanked for, and as a reward, returned the 30 silks and offered, teach a skill. The system showed the option to learn voluntary combat bandage. It was exactly what Ian wanted. He accepted. With this ability, could create and use better bandages each, cost 10 silks and restored 28. The conjuration took 10 seconds, but it could be stopped after 3. Could also be used in allies. With this, the hidden mission, with the doctor's mission, Believin's was 20% completed. Ian Freezew attested, only 20%. He thought that delivering the silks would already complete the mission, then realized it was probably a chain mission. Believin's confirmed, 30 silks weren't enough. He needed more, asked Ian to collect more fine silk. Then a Cheel message appeared. She said the team was ready, and sent him to hurry. Ian replied that he was already on his way, while the mission strings, and guide the team O'Sheel and all through the 30 forest, both demanded precision. So before anything, decided to farm the jewel that is of the saw, inside the forest, at the Track City teleport point. Daisy was already waiting for Ian, had promised to carry him through a dungeon, and he was already starting to wonder where he was. Ian showed up and told him to follow, for he was going to take you to farm King 30. Then another group arrived. Chadol waved at Ian. Next to her was Yulin. The base eyes shone as soon as you saw them. 2 beauties, he poked Ian asking when he met them. Flood interrupted, saying he had tried very hard to convince Yulina to enter, so Ian shouldn't embarrass Yushin Bum. A wind does not, looked attractive, and Lan greeted Ian, and asked if he was the wind who, I would imagine, he who could guide them through the forest 30. In her mind, she rated him calm, stable, in no hurry, with the aura of someone experienced. Ian answered simply. He was 100% confident in cleaning the dungeon, but before it starts, wanted to make something clear. He would be the team leader, and everyone should follow his commands. The group did not like it. Chambo immediately questioned, because they should hear him. What if he didn't give up anything, and drove everyone to death? Volta rebuked, remembering that they had agreed to this before. Asked what kind of attitude that was. Shambo couldn't believe that she was defending a stranger. She apologized to Ian for him, and told him to create the team. Everyone would enter. With this paradise, Ian made it clear that everyone should follow his orders. Without oxygen, if anyone had complaints, would resolve later. If they didn't like, could go out. But if someone caused trouble, or a wipe, while running, he wouldn't take it easy. He created the Yulin team. Chanol, Hideon and Manhwa entered. Yulin declared that from that moment, Hen's orders were her orders too. Who tried to act from behind, would no longer have a place on the team. Shanbu came in with dark expression, and Han declared the objective, clear the Trent Forest dungeon. Taking it, and basic, everyone was on the same side. Even if they didn't like him, there was no reason to sabotage the team and risk Kawite. He added that if any errors happened because of your commands, would compensate with 10 silver coins, and it shocked everyone, and the bid tipped to Chile and asked in a low voice, where did she find that guy? His confidence made it seem like maybe actually, they'd cheat. Chile just smiled and said Ian would definitely make it. So he asked everyone to present themselves with their status. Started by the warriors of Berlin. Sausage Water was the first princess warrior, 61 level, 230 defense, 80-27, main tank. Then came Boiling Water Cupcakes. Called a Cookie, Cloud Warrior, level 51, 160 defense, D28. Then Call a Water Fire with 32 of mechanical damage. After pumping and the others, after that Yando his first orders. Sausage Water should buy a potion of speed. Pumping should buy a power potion. Everyone was surprised. These potions weren't cheap. Cost dozens of copper coins each. Some hesitated, saying the cost was too high. Even cleaning up the Trent Forest, there was no guarantee of recovering the money. Chambo Zombo thinking Ian had some skill. But buy so many potions like that, even as a leader he couldn't clean up the dungeon like that. Morton immediately hit, said that Shambo spoke more, and that looked like he had no money to buy the potions. If I didn't, he could lend. Chambo got angry, asking what he meant more, and responded directly, I meant himself. Chila installed the tongue and asked Ian if it was necessary all that to clear the normal difficulty from the forest. Trent was also involved with the money. and just said she would understand soon. Buying potions was not waste. Because what he intended to clean up was not a normal difficulty, and he has the tallest and most expert. And the lion ordered everyone to buy the potions exactly like Ian said. Nobody argued anymore. All obeyed. After finishing the purchases, and the team was complete, last arrived at a clearing, with a strange stone in the center. Boo said to stand still. As he opened the dungeon, he advanced, put your hand on the stone, and began to recite the enchantment. Before the trees of the ancient forest, he finds ancient texts, carved into a giant stone. Those who cross the forest, absorb the dew of the first light of dawn. The shepherds echoes through the forest, awaking the sleeping souls of the ancient trees. The old man of Viridian reports the presence of black elves in the forest. He murmurs that these damn elves never stop. When the singing goes down, the system asks to choose the difficulty of easy Trent Forest dungeon, normal difficult, master or specialist, and of course Ian chose specialist. A magic circle arose immediately over their feet, and the next moment, we're already inside the Trent Forest. A notification appeared. Specialist difficulty. The team froze. Panic spread. A few pounds until praying, thought Ian had clicked wrong. There was no way to clean that up, but Aelin didn't think so. Someone like Ian wouldn't make such a basic mistake. Which meant he planned this from the beginning. Chengdu exploded, accusing Ian of trying to kill the, asked what they did to deserve that. Be forced into an expert difficulty, just to suffer a wipe and lose experience. Ian didn't even react, just said if they weren't satisfied, could come out real. Intervened, remembering that Ian was her guest. If he had a problem, should speak directly, instead of attacking. I don't stop it. Chengdu panicked and denied, but inside was furious that she was on the side of a stranger. Ian spoke calmly. Expert difficulty was not as complicated. Monsters only had 30% more. The warriors of intelligence, they needed a little more defense, and the magicians do more damage. Just that. As for the boss, Trent, there were some changes, but he would explain when they got there. He unheard carefully. He made it look simple, but modinjan up to 1 person could cause a hype. And there were 30%. Where did they get so much confidence? Shiel asked directly if he was sure. Ian replied that it would not be a problem. Shinbu was silent about this time, observing the situation. Wanted to see how that guy planned to clean up a danger. An expert. The team advanced deeper into the forest. Suddenly, the molecules began to move. Ian immediately alerted. They were entering the attack range of thirds. The flies would attack fast, so everyone needed to spread. Most reacted on time. One no shampoo. Flies fired, rolled into him, and threw him against the ground. Everyone got tense. Shambo was being. He panicked and started screaming for help, even called Ian to Nirvana Flame, asking for help. Diambiro while screaming. Ian reacted instantly, ordered sausage water and muffin to attack on the right, then sent the paladins to form a human wall, while the magicians to all the power. All moved without hesitation. The tanks blocked the front branches. The magicians fired a multi-element attack. Stranger's Udig started to fall. Someone cut the ends and Shinbu fell to the floor. He reacted with anger, accusing Ian of doing it on purpose. Said Ian noticed the trend. Did not notify. How could he be so calm in that situation? Ian didn't even shake, told him to stand. They had seen Trent at the same time. Even the warriors of Athens managed to divert, but him being failed. Said he really didn't understand how the Tenbu played with that class. He made the situation worse, said blaming others for their own lack of skill. It was ridiculous. Like this, even a random on the street would do better. Tenbu's face turned red. And the captain came and told him to stop. He had been ashamed enough. When seeing this, the Tenbu did not believe that she was also against him. Ian cut off the discussion and said it was enough. Needed to continue. The forest trend was full of traps, left by the black elves. He said he would open the way, and on the way, Genbu could observe and learn how the real played. He followed with Ian leading. Suddenly someone shouted a warning, a log falling forward. Ian reacted on time, deviating easily, and without even slowing down. Another trap had been activated, a network from above, but Ian cut in the air with the only movement. And was impressed. Didn't expect the captain of Ian's was so fluid, and the wool was impressed. His movements were accurate and efficient. The speed with which he davo with traps was on another level. Jinbu mocked, saying it was nothing too much. That he could also do that. Then he stepped on something. The ground hit and he fell right into a thorn pit. For a second he thought he had died, but Mama held his leg, pulled him up, and threw it back on the ground. And he looked at him and said straight, "It was the first time I saw so bad." Shambo retorted, saying Ian had set it up for him, and Ian passed that point without any problem. So as he called further and responded on time, calling him ungrateful. If Ian hadn't saved, he would already be dead. Ian did not argue, just told facts. Chimdi entered the trap alone. Nobody hurt him. He really thought that every place where Ian passed was automatically safe. Then finished coldly. Someone like him wasn't able to play as a win. Shinbu took offense and challenged Ian to a duel, advanced trying to attack. Ian didn't even back down. He took the blade with his fingers and said calmly that against each other was boring. If Shinbu wanted, I could call more people. If it wouldn't be funny. And Lan intervened and sent the Chu to stop, pointed out the obvious, Shinbu in the trap alone. But it was discounting on Yun Xiaoyu. Added that it was Yun who saved him, and yet he kept blaming him. Said he didn't expect that kind of attitude, but Shinbu didn't back down, insisted it was Yun's fault, that he had set it all up, said Ian saw the trap and did not warn, and that even though they are delicious, everyone was on the side of a stranger. Sausage Water interrupted and made him stop. Ian had done nothing wrong. If one was attacking the other the whole time, it was Tenmu, and everyone had seen it. Shinbu started laughing and challenged Ian to prove your skill, wanted to see how he would clean that tension. After that he left the group. Chael apologized to Ian for what happened. Ian ignored. Actually, it was better without someone like that disrupting the team. At the same time, he noticed something. If you wanted to make dungeons in the future, would need to set up your own team, and the Hulk said they could talk about it later. For now they needed to focus on cleaning the dungeon. Half an hour has passed. Yun returned after exploiting the front in stealth. Said the path was completely blocked. There were 30s in the place. Yulin's expression has changed. It was too much. Couldn't handle so many at once. Ian reassured everyone. He wasn't stupid to the point of making them fight against the together. Then he jumped on a tree branch. The others got confused. Ian pulled his beast. He was about to show what it was, putting agriculture on an absurd level. Shots. 3 girls left at the same time, cutting the clearing in different directions. The group stood still, confused. Some thought he was wrong. The Sausage Water got tense, thinking it would attract all the Trents. So Ian spoke calmly and accurately, instructing Sausage Water to blah in a specific position. The rocks reached several Trents, and reacted at the same time, each taking damage. Yuliana's eyes gave that away. It was not random. Use a triple shot beast to hit different points and control the countryside like this. It was a technique pure. She had only heard of something like that, almost like a myth. Turned to shell shot, asking where she had found that guy. The Trents were grouped together. One mistake, and everyone would attack together. But Ian not only found the perfect companion, how he separated the countryside with absurd precision. This level of control required absurd vision and accuracy. Even high-level thieves would have a hard time doing that. She commented that if they had someone like that before, the survival rate would increase by at least 30%. Real finally understood. He wasn't just good. Was on another level. The fronts advance. Ian gave orders on time. Sausage Water would hold firmly support the position. The rest of the group should focus on others. Time move. Sausage Water got thick and blocked, and worked perfectly. Exactly like Ian said, and Lam asked him to endure, because his side was already involved, and were going to help. The magicians conjured together. The spells cut the arrows in the air and the 30 fell. Then something funny. Higher level equipment. Bronze mitten. Everyone was surprised. Was an expert difficulty, and only 2 trump cards had already dropped equipment. When playing in easy mode. More did they see loot. Ia looked at Ian. Still impressed. How he did that. Simple Ian. As I said, he would take everyone to clear up the expert difficulty. Now it was enough to repeat the method, and eliminate all the forest 30s. Another arrow was fired, reaching one more Trent, who roared in anger. Ian didn't stop, pulled the group step by step destroying the dungeon. 20 minutes later, the team was resting. Sat in a circle with all the loot in the center. One of them commented that he did not expect the difficulty. Expert was so rewarding. Had eliminated only a few Trents, and they had already gotten a lot of equipment, and while they were distracted, something moved behind them. Ian had already realized, said that was just the beginning. The rewards in the force, Trents in expert difficulty were much higher. Sent everyone to rest, and when they were done, would continue. Soon came to a fort. Ian said go west. Yulin frames you attesta, the west was a dead end. The right thing would be to go east, but Ian asked to be trusted. Wouldn't let anyone get lost. What she didn't know was that route was part of a hidden story. Deeply hidden. At that point in the game, no one had figured this out yet. They shot in the way, heard a sound from a flute. The eyes of longing and sharpened was who he was looking for. O pastor of 30. Ian Patahich, an old man known as the guardian of the forest. In the past, humans and 30 coexisted in peace over care. But something has changed. The dark distances appeared. The fronts lost control and began slaughtering humans. Viridian Council decided to intervene, delete or retract. This was the main story of the dungeon. The old man noticed their presence, and immediately sent him away. That place was dangerous. The fronts would kill any human in sight. And when night fell on the moonlight, would get even stronger. Ian moved forward and greeted him, said they came to eliminate the 30 and bring justice. Ian got angry and sent it to a halt. Said that those who deserved to die were not the 30s, but the evil creatures hidden underground. They deserve divine punishment. His voice trembled with anger. The black elves had stolen his flute and hidden in the shadows, mocking everything, and launches. Surprised, that was a hidden story. How Ian had found that into asked Chiel who exactly had she brought. Chiel did not know how to answer, but went next door. I was just as shocked. Since when had Ian been so absurd? Without this mission, they couldn't beat the Trent. On specialist difficulty, Ian calmly responded, said he had already noticed those creatures. From the moment he entered the forest, he prayed that the holy light would purify them. Ian Patey's eyes shone. That adventurer really could do it. Feel that. He quickly explained that too. Black elves invented his flute, and that was underneath everything. Without her the forest went into chaos. He handed Ian a special item. Revelation Dust, a consumable with 3 uses. That revealed all hidden enemies within a radius of 30 meters for 20 seconds. Told me to find them, kill them, and recover your flute. Only then the 30th king could be defeated. Ian accepted and with item in hand, commanded time follow him. Then, threw a rope on the edge of a cliff and jumped. The others quickly followed him as they advanced, and Lan asked if he really knew where the dark elves were. Ian replied that yes. They went through a narrow crack on the side of the cliff and entered a hidden path. Ian pointed to the front. They were there. This time would corner them like turtles in a pot and eliminate the 2. Chiel asked how he knew this. Ian answered simply. They were following the group from the beginning. A shiver ran through her body. She looked around, but saw nothing. Even so, Ian already felt that they were approaching. Ian explained that the 2 black elves were extremely cautious. If they didn't solve everything at once, they would flee, and capturing them again would be almost impossible. The elves remained hidden, following the group in orbit, waiting for the right moment, and then collect the revelation dust, and the hidden figures were immediately revealed. The black elves panicked, tried to escape, but the sausage water and were already blocking the exit. No option. Attacked. Sausage water held on tight and blocked the blow, but he raised his hand, gathering fire quickly, and launched a fireball that hit the elves directly, and Lan and the others stole to give support. Ian gave the order, end them. The flute was with them. He faced one head on. The elf advanced with the claws shining, but Ian responded with a precise blow, causing 50 damage. Then, Yulan attacked with a clean cut, ripping off the elf's arm. The black elf died. Ian let go of the air. He took the flute. With this paradise, the forest trend would be easier. The Thai flute could be used by any player from 0 level. When activated, cause fear in trend-tied creatures, reducing your attributes by 50% and increasing user HP by 300. But it only worked inside the Trend Forest dungeon. So what was Ian? She found something else. A letter. When Ian. A new warning emerged. Hidden mission. Paul is to deliver the secret letter to General Varen and warn you about the damn drug counterattack. She asked what was written. Since I couldn't read everything, Ian explained that it was part of a story. After clearing the forest, just go back to town to deliver. Everyone was excited about the unexpected reward. Now they were even more motivated to finish the dungeon. Ian delivered the flute for Sausage Water, since he was the main tank. Sausage Water was shocked. Its EQ increased by another 300. With this until facing Kane 30 head on, it wasn't that scary anymore. They shot again. Z couldn't hide the admiration. When they entered the forest, part of the team still doubted Ian. But now his attitude had completely changed. He felt proud. Soon the forest turned into chaos. They faced the 30s together. Giant logs fell one after the other among the drops. A bronze level round mech with 10% defense, Sausage Water, compared with your old equipment, and saw that it was much better, and the bid approached Yuan with an order. I knew it was asking too much, since it was all thanks to his leadership, but asked if I could buy the poison. Even without Ian, the team might face higher level dungeons. Ian replied that he only needed equipment and jewelry falling soft of King Trent. Everything else would be sold anyway. So if they needed, could keep the items. Ian thanked. Chiel also apologized, saying he ended up coming out at a loss because of them, then thanked again. Suddenly, doctors exploded from the ground. The earth opened up and more sparkles arose. Ian's expression got serious. He warned the boss had arrived. Everyone rushed and prepared immediately. Training now. Arrow Warrior at the front. Follow your commands. The withdrawal appeared. Level 4 batch class with more than 100,000 hate. He roared, cursing humans for invading their territory, and attacked. Thick flies screamed and before saw, easily going under the attack, and Lamb was shocked. A level 2, dealing with boss level 4 class lord, with so much peace of mind. She had never seen anything like this, and walk orders on time. The Sausage Water would be the tank. Hand-to-hand fighters would stay after him. Classes were forbidden to approach. Less than 30 meters from the boss, Sausage Water felt the pressure immediately. The boss's defense was absurd. Ian called the wise men and gave the signal, attack together. Magics of different elements were introduced at the same time, while sausage water held the front line. And this story sticks around. If you like, leave your like, hype the video as much as you can, subscribe to the channel if you are not already registered, and activate the bell. Also consider becoming a member, it is very cheap and helps us a lot. While waiting for the next video, comment asking for part 2, and watch the video that is on your screen, which is also very good. Enter our server, do Discord to see the name of this war. And having said that, I'm staying here, and of course I see you in the next video.